Hello, hello, my crafty friends. This is Annemarie Julian Wetzel. I'm so glad you joined me. Today, I am going to share with you textures, and we're going to have fun playing with some textures. So that's what today's creative activity will end up being. Sorry I can't join you live, and this is a pre-recorded, but I believe all of you guys understand the circumstances. So again, thank you so much for all of your thoughts and your prayers and your kind words. So to get started, here are some projects that I created. We're going to end up replicating this one, but there's lots of different things that I did to create this card and adding some texture. And primarily it was all done with a brayer. So I'm going to show you some braying techniques, and then we will finish up the project. So first, let me show you some of the products that we are using. I am using the new Creative Haven die. So I used this die, but it does have the stamp set. So on this card, you can see that I stamped and then die cut using that banner for this card. I actually embossed this card with copper embossing powder. And I thought this brought in the great colors that I used for the texture in the background. And this is with cherry cobbler, pecan pie, crumb cake. So lots of different colors added into here and lots of different splatters and stuff. But I thought that added, again, texture. This is all about layering some textures. So Creative Haven is one of our new products, and again, it has a stamp set and a die. I have just combined the two into one folder. No need for me to have two folders. I like to keep my stamps and dies together. And then I played a little bit around and added the swirl designs, and I added this dotted dash on here. So you'll see me playing with that. But again, it has the stamp set and also has these fun dies. I actually created a card and shared it once before, but here's a sample of that card. You can see both that stamp set, I love that layering, and then also the dies that are part of that set. And then what else am I going to play with today? We're going to play with the embossing powder. This is called Beautiful Pattern Embossing, and you can see that I use that here again on this particular card and added that, again, additional textured layer. And this is really fun. This is a stamp set. It's a photopolymer, very, very large stamp set. I'm going to show you a couple of different ways and how we use that. It's called the Lasting Linen. So many different things here. And then last but not least, the Friendly Foliage dies. Again, it has a stamp set and a die, and that's what I used here. In addition here, this is part of, I just used that. It's the smallest one of our Everyday Arches dies, and I just used that to add that. All right, so let's get started here. Again, I'm just going to show you some fun things first and ways to use the brayer. Let's start off with the embossing folder. So again, my new favorite with the adding ink to embossing folder now is with a brayer. I always used to take my ink pad. The Stampin' Up ink pads are so juicy, which is amazing, but sometimes it gets too much on your embossing folder. So I think it's fun to just add it. We're not going to end up using this piece. I'm going to make other cards with it, but I'm going to do pecan pie this time. Do I want pecan pie? No, you know what? I'm going to play it up. I'm going to go with Old Olive. I do love Old Olive. All right, it's not cooperating with me, but okay. So a couple of tips for using the brayer. So this here, you can see these here, that's to set it down. So this will not touch your project. This is just more of a standing option. Here is how you would want to roll it. So I am going to take And I'm going to roll the ink onto the side where it has Stampin' Up on it. And I am just, again, I'm just rolling it. If I went like this, I'm only going to get a section of the ink or of the roller, so I kind of want to do it evenly. And I am just going to roll it on. And you could do both ways of the embossing folder. All right, so I'm going to just set that down. I have a piece of paper here. I'm going to put it on the side that I don't have the ink, and then I'm going to lower this side here. And let me get my embossing machine up. I'm going to close this. Okay. So with our die cutting machine, I will need this platform, the base platform, and just, again, I'm going to run this through and you'll see how, oops, I actually have too many. I forgot to take off layer 2. I do not need layer 2 on here. That's too thick for this. That's why it wasn't going through. So, love, love, love it's really, really deep color. I don't know if you can see that, but it's great. So, and then again, what I'm going to do is take a paper towel, wipe this off. Keep it clean. I also take my chamois and wipe it off and then dry it off. All right. So again, fun, easy way. The brayer will give it different levels of ink. So I am all for that. All right. Let me put this aside and let's show you one other thing that I'm using the brayer for. I actually have a couple other ways that I'm going to use the brayer, but all right, I'm just cleaning off my excess here. And just gonna just make sure I'm wiping this down. All right. So this lasting linen, I'm going to show you a couple ways that I use this stamp, but the lasting linen is very, very large stamp. And you can see that I already used cherry cobbler for this. We have see how sticky this is. I love this linen look. So I am just going to place this on here. And let's do this one up with pecan pie. But I could take my ink pad, right? And I can go like this and try to get the ink all over it. But again, with the brayer, you can't even really see the color going on, but trust me, it is going on. Just do one more. Put these aside. And I'm going to take this big block, turn it over here. Press it down, hold it on for a little bit, and you're going to see this is a really, really fun stamp set. Great for many, many backgrounds. Now, what I'm also going to do is just clean off. You're definitely going to want a scrap piece of paper to clean off your excess. This is going to still have some, but this is the back side of my paper. I don't really care. So you're going to see some of the color coming off of it still. I didn't clean it all the way, but that again will give a great the ability to make sure that you press down all of it and hopefully no bubbles. All right, so I'm going to pull that off. Look at that. Can you see that texture in there? Just like tweed. All right, so let me clean this off. And I'm going to set this aside because we're going to use this again later on. All right, so those are a couple of ways to use your brayer, right? Well, let's see here. So what I'm going to do is create a background. Again, you can use so many different colors. I am going to use crumb cake and cherry cobbler on here, and I may add some pecan pie in there, but I'm taking, this is a 4x12. I'll probably make 2 cards out of this, but we're only going to make one with you right now. I'm going to be cutting this down. This is, I think, 4 1/4. I'm going to cut it down to 4. Yep, it is 4 1/4. Okay, so and I am just going to take in, again, this is going to be layers and textures, and you will love this. And I, again, just want to make sure that I am cleaning this brayer off. Not that those colors that I use would really impact, but okay, so again, I am going to run, this is crumb cake that I'm using, and I just want to see how dark it is going. Yep, that's going to be good. I am going to start from off the paper. And I'm just going to bring that up. I love that, okay? That is exactly what it's supposed to do. I'm going to go here. And there. And there. All right. Clean this off. All right, and I'm going to just leave that open, and then we're going to add some of the cherry cobbler in there. And I'm going to overlay, just what you see how that dark that can be. So, and I'm actually going to go this way with it. And let's go here. Love it. All right. Do I want to add more? You know what? Let's do the pecan pie. We'll add a little bit of the pecan pie. So again, just cleaning this off. Just doing a little here, and yeah, I'll go that way. And I'm okay if I didn't have this edge done, because I'm, like I said, it's 4 1/4, and I'm going to be cutting that down to 4. So let me just do a little bit here. All right, so we have this. Now we're still going to actually add more texture to this. And sorry for all the noise, and hopefully I'm not shaking my camera too much. But, all right, so again, taking this here, I pre-cut or pre-stamped. We're going to use the cherry cobbler. I have a piece right here that we'll end up using when we do that stamping there. But I want to add some more texture. So as I mentioned, I wanted to use this stamp set, but instead of having it on the block, I just want to actually add a little bit of texture. So I'm just pulling this off here. And I'm going to bring in some old olive. Now, one of the things that I don't want to do is I don't really want to get this edges. I don't want to have a sharp edge there, although it's not bad. It's not going to ruin it if you do end up getting that. But I am just going to, this is again my side that has all the texture. And I'm just going to fill in some of those spaces here. Love it, love it, love it. And I'm doing first and second generation. So, see, can you see that added texture there? So fun. I'm gonna add some here. And all right, let's just do a couple of other places here. Yep, and add more there. All right, do I have it evenly? I feel like I have more on the bottom, so I'm going to just do some more right up in that corner there. There we go. So can you see all of that added texture? Love it, love it. And I hope you guys do too. So again, and your consistency is all going to be different. Just imagine all of the different colors that you can use too. You can, I was actually thinking about redoing this and actually doing the, not the Hobo Blue, Misty Moonlight. I think Misty Moonlight would be good with these color combos. But I stuck with the cherry cobbler because I'm also a fan of the cherry cobbler. And I wanted more of the fall colors. Not that Misty Moonlight would not be a bad thing. Okay, so now I think what I want to do is I want to add some of these lines, some additional texture to it. So I'm going to grab my stamp here. We have a couple of different options. Because you know what, I might actually, no, I think I'm going to stick with that. And I'm also going to do some splatter too. So let's put this here, and I'm going to continue to do in the old olive. Just going to check that out. Just adding it in a variety of places and sometimes off. All right. Let's see here. Again, let's do it up here. Okay, now I'm going to add some splatter to this. You guys are thinking, what? Is she crazy? But I think I'm going to go with a darker splatter. On my original card, I did old olive, but I have enough old olive this time. Again, changing it up. So, make sure I have my chamois clean here. So I think I'm going to take early espresso. So in order for me to do this, obviously I can't do it on the paper, and I'm taking an all-purpose mat. I'm going to set that aside over here. Now, if you have the glass mat would be perfect for this. And I would use my glass mat, but like I said, I get a glare, too much of a glare, and I need to change my lighting. So that's something that I got to work on. Hopefully that'll happen over the holidays. So I'm just spraying some water down there. And then I'm going to take a fan brush. And I am going to bring in this old pizza box. And I'm not doing that big of a piece of paper, so I'm not going to add anything else around here. But let me grab my paper here and just get some splattering in here. I might need to add a little bit more water. Yep. Let me add some more water. Oh, there we go. Can you see that splatter? Again, and this is just a fun way of adding some additional texture. This is also card, could be great for a masculine card. And do a little bit more up in this corner here. All right, so we are done. Let me set that aside. Not that it's too wet, but I'm going to set this aside, and we're going to cut out that other piece. I'm going to show you how to use that other die, that foliage die. Let me just... All right, clean up my workspace here. Let's bring it in here. Let me show you. Can you see the splatter added here? So again, just another layer of texture that it makes it look. All right. So I used my paper for, let me grab another piece. Okay, sorry about that. I'm gonna stamp first, and then I'm gonna line it up. Just gonna use my big block here that I have. And again, I'm gonna keep it to the same. I'm gonna use that old olive. I'm just gently tapping down, because like, again, these are really, really juicy. And I'm just going to go straight down. There we go. Clean that off with the chamois. Okay, so now for the dies. These are the two dies that you will end up using. So I'm going to line these up. And see how it fits perfectly inside that square that right. Oh, I need to get my other plates. All right, so I got my 2 and my 3 plate. And line this up again. I'm going to put some washi tape on here. I'm going to run that through. I could probably do both of them together, but I don't want anything to shift. Love that. So again, I could keep this with this line here and keep all of this. This would be kind of cool too if I would have embossed it with the embossing folder and then just kept this as a whole. That's another idea to use with this set. And then I'm going to line this up here. Where did my other, it stayed on here, okay. All right, it fits perfectly. I love how easily this is to line up. All right, no more shaking of the camera. We should be done now. And voila, we have finished this. So, get this out of the way and let's clean up a little bit. Turn this paper over. All right, so again, now we're going to bring back this piece. And again, I'm going to use this for 2 cards, but we're only making 1 today. I'm actually going to be doing this technique with the scrapbook layout. So when I get back from Rochester, I am going to be doing that. So again, I'm going to cut this down to 4. And 5 1/4. And this will fit on a card base. That, of course, I did not have with me, but I just grabbed it easily. I should put them right over here next to my table. On my shelves. All right. So look at all of that texture, right? And we're not even all done with that yet because we're going to add this on. Just centering this on my card. And then now I have to find that piece that I just showed you that I had pre-cut. Here it is. Okay. I'm going to add some 3D dimensionals on here. And again, I ran this through using that textured stamp set. So again, adding that texture along with the die is another layer. Let's get some foam tape. I'm just using the minis, placing them around. And I'll put one over here. And that should give it enough support. There we go. Yep. All right, so cutting that down, adding that, and now, like I said, I cut this out from the arches. Do that, and what do I want to use for a sentiment? So for my sentiments on this one, I did Get Well Soon. But I think I'm going to, you know what I do? I need another Get Well Soon. So we're going to stick with the Get Well Soon. Add it here. I'm going to use the cherry cobbler. And because I'm tucking it on under this, I want to make sure that I have it on the right side of my paper. All right. I'm going to tuck that in there. There we go. So just think how much fun you can have by creating these backgrounds, whatever color you like, and it's all with the fun of the brayer, right? Again, you can put it on stamp pads, you can put it on embossing folders, or you can just do it direct to paper in different angles and get different patterns and techniques. And then again, layering it with other stamps and splatters, so much more you can do. All right, I am just going to add some finishing touches, and I'm using the new Earthy Matte Dot. So all of the products that I'm showing you today are new from the November online exclusives. So, and I love the fact that they have the cherry cobbler, the early espresso, the pecan pie. And again, this I think is balmy blue, and that would really go good in that color combination also. So let's go with a large one there. And just adding it there. All right. So your creative activity will be to create something with texture. Use multiple textures. Let us know what textures you use, whether it's different types of splattering, layering of inks like we did with the brayer, embossing folder, so many options, right? So all about the texture. So share what texture that you used for your project and post it. Now, where to post it? Because again, some of you might be watching this on YouTube. So if you're watching this on YouTube, come join me on my customer page, which is called Scrap and Roll, my Facebook group. And I will have this posted under guides, and you can, everybody places their creative artwork in there, and then they'll be eligible for some Happy Mail. If you are watching this directly from my Scrap and Roll page and you have not followed me on YouTube, I would love for you to do that. It's Create and Craft with Annemarie. So come join me on my YouTube channel and subscribe, like, and comment. I appreciate you guys. See you guys next week. Thanks so much and have a crafty week.